Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluwatayo. In today's video, we're going to continue from where we stopped last week. We're still continuing on performing calculations in Excel, and today we're going to be talking about how to insert functions. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so here's the data we're going to use for the purpose of today's class or today's tutorial. Okay, so today we're talking about inserting functions in Excel. We're still talking on how to calculate or how to perform calculations in Excel. Okay, so today we're talking about inserting functions in Excel. All right, so this is the data we're going to be using, and we already understand what a formula is. So for today, we want to talk about functions. Okay, so basically, functions are simply built-in predefined formulas. As simple, in formulas, you're the one that writes what you want to do. You're the one that you're adding, you're subtracting one cell from the other, multiplying one cell by one cell or one value by this and that. But functions, they are basically predefined. They are built-in already. Okay, and you can always tweak them to suit your needs. Okay, I hope that is very clear. Okay, so going further, it's just basically they are defined formulas that you can quickly and easily insert into worksheet cells. You can quickly insert into here. So it's how to get to a function takes basically the same format as it is the same format, a similar format as the way you insert formulas. Okay, so basically it is preceded to insert functions. It is preceded by an equal to sign, like normally. But this time around, instead of you to start writing your argument straight up or start referencing your cells or writing your constants or anything or putting mathematical operators, this time around you're going to be inserting the functions. And what do I mean? So after my equal to, I put a function name. And after the function name, I put a set of arguments. Okay. I hope that is not confusing yet. Okay, so basically, this is what I mean. So, for example, I want to do a summation. So I'm going to put a function because I already have an idea of what the function is. In Excel, I can use sum. So the moment I put S, it's going to bring out a lot of functions that start with S or SU or something. So I'll pick the one I want. So I'm taking sum. So the moment I double click on sum, it opens the bracket from the parentheses and tells me, okay, it just gives me a guide that, okay, what do I want to sum up? I should start putting the numbers. I could start by choosing one, then I separate it by a comma, then I do this, followed by a comma and all that. Or I could just choose a range. Okay, by a range, what I mean is I could just drag down like this, and then I close my parentheses. Then I hit my enter button, and it does the summation for me. Okay, so basically, what we're coming to is this. An Excel function is preceded by inserting a function. You start by inserting an equal to sign. You put a function name, and then a set of arguments. These are arguments, okay, in parentheses, which are separated by commas. As simple and short as that. Nobody's going to ask you what a function is. Just know how to use. Nobody's going to ask you to define a function. I'm just trying to explain what it looks like. Okay, so this totality you're looking at in the formula bar here is a function. It's what you call a function. Remember what a formula is. The formula wouldn't have this function name. Okay. All right. So, like I said earlier, or like I demonstrated while I was inserting this function, an argument can be cell references. The way I've referenced this, or the way I've if I click on them, all these are references. I referenced. By reference, it means I pointed to something on the worksheet. Okay, I didn't manually insert the figure. I just pointed and clicked. All right, that's what I mean by reference. Okay, so arguments can be cell references. They can be constants, formulas. So, for example, I could still want to put constants inside this sum. Okay, I could want to manually put constant. Then arguments can be cell references and the constant formulas. It can even be other functional logical values, basically. Okay, so that is the simple definition or description of how to insert a function. So you're wondering, So this function name, how do they come about them? Okay, so basically a function name is typically the name, okay, the name or an abbreviated version of the actual mathematical function. Okay, so I hope that is not too long. So basically a function, like I said, I wanted to do summation, that is, I wanted to total some things, I wanted to add some stuff in Excel. So because I had a prior knowledge of there's a function called sum, so I quickly inserted sum. Okay, I quickly wrote sum, and it brought out the function name already. So basically, function names, they're usually they could be an abbreviated version of the actual mathematical function, or they are just the full name. So for example, in Excel, apart from sum, you have, let's say you want to do for average. Okay, so the moment you type average, it's going to give you example of, okay, oh, you want to calculate something in average, like that. You can choose your range, close your bracket, hit your enter button, it's going to give you your answer. It could be sum, so you can see that average is a full mathematical function. It could be count or median, or let's see, median. You see, those are statistical functions that you want to use, so it's in full. It could be count, when you want Excel to count the number of count the number of values in a range, to tell you how many values are in there. Okay, so and it could be abbreviated, something like, if I want to find a maximum value in a range of cells, instead of maximum, I just type max. It brings out, and the moment so that you're not confused, Excel gives you a tip of what this particular function is. So this one has told you max, it returns the largest value in a set of values, ignores logical values in text. Okay, so the moment I put max, I'm talking about it's going to look for the maximum value in this data set for me, and just going to return it. Okay, that's 2,800. So it's just, there's just some function names that are abbreviated. Okay, for example, exponential, instead of exponent, you just put x, and you see exponential here, and you're wondering, what does it mean? It returns a raise to the power of the given number. Okay, so basically that's how function works. You can even manually type your functions into cells if you use various commands and dialog boxes. So it has made it simpler, because you don't have to know all the kinds of function that exist, or the kind of predefined function that exists in the database of Excel. Okay, so and the way that's done that is by having, there's a functions library. There is a function library group on the formulas tab. Okay, so I'm already on the formulas tab, but I'm just going to go back to what we're familiar with seeing. This is the home tab. Okay, so there's a function library group on the formulas tab, which is a central location for accessing all functions. So this is the formulas tab. You remember our tabs and groups and ribbon in the ribbon. So this is the formula tab, and you look at here, you see the function library group. These are groups. You remember these are groups. Okay, so this function library groups, you can see that Excel has made it simpler, so that you're not confused, because it contains this function library group is a central location, like I said earlier, for accessing all functions, and it contains a set of menus, like you can see, like this, a set of menus that organize Excel functions according to specific categories, okay, for ease of reference. So you can see that they are inside specific categories. You have functions under the financial menu, logical menu. You have series of functions there, okay. So for example, let's say I need a function that is related to date and time. I'm just going to come under date and time. I'm going to come under date and time menu like this. I'm just going to pick the function I really need. So for example, I want to know today's date, or I want to insert today's date. I'm just going to click on today, and it's going to, so for example, let's say, so I want to say, you remember, to start writing a function, you have to have the equal sign, and I'm going to come here and say, oh, today, and I'm just going to hit the enter button. It's going to give me the date of today. Today is 15th of June 2020. So you can see that it has returned it. In a like manner, I may not necessarily have to go to the function library, but I could just insert, because I know the function by heart. could just insert today and close my bracket and just go like that. So those are different ways. Then another way you can access functions in the your Excel worksheet is to use the insert function dialog box. Okay, there are two ways you can do this. So you can see there's a dialog box here. So there's an insert function dialog box, and it gives you, okay, select your category. You want, if you want to see all the functions, you want to just look for logical functions, the if functions, the true or false function. If you want to look for the financial functions where you can calculate present value, future value, or you can calculate interest rate. There are a whole lot. These more accounting and what's that word now? And financial in a way. So you want to understand the T-bills rate, you want to understand T-bill price, you want to understand yield, you want to understand what's it called now, net present value, and all that and all that. So if you go to financial, you want to do something statistical, your average, if your correlation and your chi-square, okay, let's not go into all those ones, your confidence intervals, you want to understand your counting. So there are a lot of, you want to understand your covariance. There are a lot of statistical functions you can access from here. If you don't remember or you don't exactly know what kind of function or what the particular function does, you could just pick. So I've picked main. You can see that it's giving me a brief description of what this particular function does. It returns the smallest number in data value, blah 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 blah. Okay, so if you're not exactly let's go to Pearson. If you're not exactly sure of what function you should use, or you're just mixing things up, you just click on this and it gives you a short description or brief description of what this one does. Okay, so basically that is how you can use. That is one way you can use the insert button, the insert function button. Okay, another way you can, apart from coming, another way you can use the insert function button is coming here. Double tap on this FX and it brings you straight here. Okay, so I've talked about 3 different ways you can insert function. About 4 different ways you can insert function. The first way is by manually, inserting your function by picking it this way. The other way is by coming to the function library here and picking the menu that most suits your use. The third way is to use the insert function button here, or you use the insert button here in the formula bar. Okay, all right. So basically those are the ways you insert functions in your Excel worksheet. Okay, all right. I will talk about how the insert function button shows you a brief description of what that particular function name does. Okay, all right. So we're going to just do a small exercise around commonly used functions. Commonly used functions like sum, the average, the count, the max, and the min. By max, I mean maximum and minimum. Okay, so this data set here, okay, let me clear what we have here. So this data set here, rather, it's a store data set. Store that has locations across Lekki, Ikeja, Ibadan, and Ibadan. Yes. Okay, it's a retail store. They sell stationeries, pencil binders, and they have the name of their sales rep. This is like the inventory kind of thing, and this is the units sold, units of the item that was sold, and this is the unit cost. Okay, so basically what we want to, the functions we want to use this evening, or for the purpose of this video, is the sum, talk about the counts, talk about the average, talk about what again, the maximum, and we'll talk about the minimum. Okay, all right. So these are basic functions that a store manager or a store admin could need. Okay, so we're just going to quickly go through it. So for example, for the sum function, I'm going to just do which of the method you love best to any of the method you love best to, you could write your functions out. You could go to the function library book, or you could use the set function button. So for me, I'll just say equal to sum, then click this guy. If I like, I may not click this guy. I may just manually insert my what's it called, my bracket on myself. So it is giving me, okay, what do I want to sum? So I want to sum everything inside this inside this whole inside this range of cell references from F2 to F45 or whatever. So you can drag and drag. You can see that blue, this shiny light that is around the numbers already means that those are the active cells you're picking. Okay, so so from F2 to F44, and then I close my bracket. Then I press the equal to sign. Okay, that's 30,100. Another way I could do this, I could use, like I said earlier, I could use the insert function button. I could another thing I could do to insert a function to calculate the sum. I could just use my what's it called now? My keyboard functions. I will use alt equal to. So I'll press alt and equal to on my system, and Excel automatically detects that I want to do an auto sum or something. It automatically detects that, oh, okay, this person wants to sum everything in this column. So it picks it from the top. If you notice, it's highlighting it. It picks from the top, F2 to F4, like we did earlier, and it's giving me the chance that, oh, maybe it didn't guess right. Okay, if I want to change, if I want to edit it, I can't edit it. So this, but because it guessed right, it detected my data right. So I'm just going to click the enter button. It's still going to give me the same answer. Okay, there are a series of ways you could do. You could use the auto sum function, and it will still give you the same answer. Okay, all right. So that is that. But when you want to use the sum, what's it called? The sum. Okay, the sum function rather. All right. Okay, you could use the auto sum button. You put your cursor on the active cell where you want the auto sum answer to be. Then you just click on remember I'm under the formulas tab, function library group, and I'm just going to click on the auto sum button. You can see it has even brought it at alt plus equal, so automatically add it up. Your total will apply after the select cell. So I'm just going to click auto sum, and it just does the same job for me, and I click the enter button and it gives me the same answer. All right, so that's that about the sum function. So the other function I want to quickly look at today is the count. Okay, so maybe you have a large data set and you just want to be sure of how many unique values are inside it. So I just want to know how many things are inside it. I want the result to count instead of me having to count in person. Okay, so I'm going to say is equal to count, then I'm going to click count, then I'm going to drag my range. I'm going to drag until I get to F44. If I know the cell names and the numbers by myself, I could write. So I'm going to hit the enter button, and it tells me, oh, I have a total of 3 values inside here. What I mean by if I know the name of so now that I know the name, so is equal to count. I'll open my brackets so I can write it by myself at F2 semicolon, or is it colon now? F2 to F44. So I'm writing this with my own hand. I don't have to drag. So it has automatically detected it. I hit the enter button, it does the same job. Okay, the count function is particularly useful for you if you have a large data set, you want to know the number of data you have in that set. Now, this count function, bear in mind that it will not count blank cells. It will only count where there are unique values. That's why it has a description. It says count the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. Okay, so so for example, I want to count blank. There is another way to do that, to tell me count blank. It depends on the kind of counting I want to do. If I want to count, so if I want to count if I want to put a condition. Okay, so count the number of cells. Count the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Okay, so it's slightly the same thing, counter and count. Okay, let's use counter and I know my range is F2 to F44. Where is it? Okay. You can see that it's returning the same, it's returning the same answer. Alright, but they are slightly different functions. So for example, equal to, where is it equal to now? So counter. So let's go over what counter does again. It counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. It counts the number of cells in the range that are not empty. While it counts the number of cells that contains numbers. So for example, so counter would count cells that have letters or alphabets. Okay, let me copy and okay, no, let me not just copy, let me use counter on these guys because they are numbers. So that would be B2 to B44. So equal to counts. Let's use count first. So B2 to 44. You can see that count will return 0. Meanwhile, it's not like there are no values inside, it's just that there are no numbers because count is only set to count numbers. So that's why you have to know the difference between, you have to thankfully Excel gives you description of what each of the functions. So for a data set like this that has numbers, what is going to apply if I want to count is counter. Okay, so I'm just going to say B2 to B44 and it's going to return my 43. So that's majorly the difference. Okay, all right, that's about the count function. Which other function do we want to talk about? We want to talk about the average, the max, and the mean. All right, so look at these guys. This is supposed to be the unit cost, if I'm correct. The data in don't worry, I'm going to attach this file so that you can practice. I'm going to attach it on the website www.domainmakeronline.com so you can download and practice with it. Okay, so we want to do the average of the unit cost on this. So you're going to say is equal to, okay, let's use the insert function this time around. So here we go. So we're going to either say all so that we don't limit ourselves. Then because you don't want to be scrolling, you could just put an idea of what you want Excel to do so that it would then you say go, it brings all the average kind of functions, then you click your average. Okay, so it brings this dialog box. So it wants you to put in your arguments. Okay, so my argument right now is you can see inside this dialog box, it says it's giving you step-by-step guide on how to insert the function. Okay, so it says it returns the average arithmetic mean, yeah, that's what average is, of its arguments, which can be numbers or names, arrays, or references that contain numbers. Okay, so that's what average does. In fact, it has even given you an idea of what your formula result would be if I choose this range of cells. Okay, so because I want to find the average between F2 to F44. Remember in F45 and F46, I think I have some data on counter also there, so that's why it's taking it to F46. It's automatically detected where data was, but I wanted to stop at F44. That would be it. So you can see that giving me an idea of my. So if I click the OK button, it's going to put the answer of 700 there. Now I'll show you two ways to do this. So you can see it has put my answer here that the average of the unit cost in this cell or in this data cell is 700 naira, or 700 units, or whatever the unit of this particular column is. It's in naira. Okay, all right, so that's 700. Now another thing you can do, instead of you having to use your hand to let's go insert function, instead of me having to use this average, so instead of me having to use my hand to edit it, I can click on this upward arrow, which takes me to the worksheet and makes worksheet active. I can easily pick where I want to. I can easily pick the range instead of, you can see that it automatically detected F2 to F7. Maybe I don't want that. I can pick what I want actually, and just go and stop where I want, and I just say, okay guy, I'm done, come here. It has imputed a protocol there, it has listened to me, and it's going to give me the same answer, 700. Okay, so that is how we'll use the insert function, and in the insert function button rather. Okay, so we've worked on the sum, or worked on the count and the counter, or worked on average. So we want to do on the max and the mean. I'm trying to see in this video if we could quickly talk about the basic function syntax. Okay, basically that's what we're already doing. So that's the syntax. We're already even talking about basic function syntax, because we're already talking about the operations inside a function, how we choose the arguments, the structure necessary to properly express the function. Okay. So basically, so let's go to the max function. Max. Okay, so max is equal to, so you want to know the maximum number in this particular cell. So since I already know my cell range, so I will just say F2 semicolon or column, whatever that is, F44. Okay, I'm going to hit my enter button. So it's telling me that so for example, I want to know the highest unit cost of something that we sell as the value storekeeper or not. So I could quickly use the max function to know the highest price, like max. Okay, so I now know that 2,800 is the maximum amount of everything. The most expensive thing in our store is 2,800, and that would be a desk. Okay, all right. So the same thing for me. Don't forget to put the equal to button. So the same thing for me. I want to know the lowest thing we sell in our store. So okay, this time around I'm not going to write the range out. I'm just going to drag. I'm going to drag until I finish. I'm going to put my brackets and hit the enter button. So the cheapest thing we sell in our store is 100 naira. Okay, and there could be a lot of them. 100 naira, and that's a pencil, I guess. Yeah. So basically, so today I'm sure we'll now understand how to insert a function, and we understand basic function syntax. Okay, when you hear syntax, please don't overthink it. Basically, what that means is the structure necessary to properly express the function and to define its argument, and that's what we're talking about. Okay, nobody needs to cram definitions, just understand the basics behind it. Okay, so you need to understand the syntax is such that all functions begin with an equal sign, then followed by the function name, like we did earlier. It's followed by the function name, then the name is followed by opening a bracket, okay, or parentheses, whichever sits well with you, which got then. So this bracket then contain the argument, okay, and this which then contain the, what am I saying? Yeah, it contains the argument, okay. Let's say this is the argument. You can close your bracket. Now you remember well that your arguments can be anything. Your argument can include constants, it can include cell range. This is a cell range that I drew here. That I drag here. You can include cost type, and include cell range. You can include logical values. You can include formulas, depending on what you want to do. Okay, so these are basic build blocks, or basic blocks for understanding how operations work, or how things work in Excel. All right. Okay. So I'm glad you're able to stay till this time. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my videos. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you found it very helpful, send to a friend, forward this to a friend, and tell them to subscribe too. Also, do not miss our mailing list. Do not miss anything new that we're adding to the website on www.careermakeonline.com, and I'll be glad to have you. Okay, in the next video, we're going to be talking about how to reuse formulas. Apparently, we've been waiting for a way to make things, to make life easier, to make our job always easier in the shortest possible time. So we'll be learning how to reuse formulas, there we'll learn three types of references too. Okay, so till till then, I'm gonna say thank you and have a great day ahead. Bye.